The Alpha Beast's challenge roar shattered 12 recording devices and killed the translator in Ambassador Zilax's earpiece. But the human, a cargo hauler named Emma Johnson, just laughed and asked if that was supposed to be impressive. "Ambassador, the human is laughing," Council Observer Azila hissed through the emergency channel, her three hearts racing in synchronized panic. Protocol dictates immediate prostration at the Alpha's vocalization. Why is she laughing? Zilax frantically replaced his translator, fingers trembling, as he tried to process what he was witnessing on every broadcast screen across 600 star systems. The arena of submission, ancient ground, where interspecies hierarchy had been maintained for 12,000 years, was currently hosting the most catastrophic diplomatic incident in recorded history. Korvax the Unconquered stood at full display height. 4 meters of apex predator biology, specifically evolved to trigger primal submission in other species. His crest blazed with challenge colors that had brought entire planetary delegations to their knees. 47 species had faced him in this arena. 47 species had submitted within seconds of his dominance roar. The human, wearing a grease-stained cargo hauler's jumpsuit with the name Emma stitched above the pocket, stood with her arms crossed, head tilted like she was waiting for a delayed shipment. According to YouTube analytics, 99.6% of viewers are not subscribed. That's a huge number. By subscribing the channel that is completely free, you'll help support the channel and never miss fresh content. Did he just roar at me? Emma asked, glancing toward the council observation booth. "Because I've heard louder noises from hydraulic failures. Way scarier too, honestly." "Emergency Protocol Alpha 7, Zilax transmitted to Council High Command. Human refuses submission posture. Repeat, human is non-compliant with dominance hierarchy establishment." "Can she not feel the pheromones?" Azila demanded. "The Alpha's biochemical projection should have her nervous system screaming for submission." On the arena floor, Korvax performed the ritual challenge approach, a measured stalk that had caused 3 species to literally die of fear before physical contact. Emma watched him like a worker watching a forklift with a wobbly wheel. "Okay, so Big Kitty wants to do the intimidation dance," Emma said conversationally, pulling out her data pad. "Anyone mind if I record this? My crew's not going to believe this shift." "Ambassador," Council Military Coordinator Jitaro's voice cracked through the feed. "If the human refuses submission, the dominance accords require combat resolution. If she loses—" "I'm aware of what happens if she loses," Zilax snapped. "Humanity gets classified as servitor species and banned from 600 systems. And if she somehow wins, which is biochemically impossible against an alpha beast, it destabilizes 12,000 years of hierarchy protocols." "Then get her to kneel," Jitaro roared. "I'm trying." Zilax activated the public address system. "Human Emma Johnson, you are in violation of diplomatic protocol. You must assume submission. Posture immediately. The stakes—" Yeah, I got the memo," Emma interrupted, not looking away from Korvax, who had begun his threat display, a series of movements that literally rewired observer brain chemistry toward terror responses. "Kneel to the big guy or humanity gets the servitor brand. Super great options, really feeling the diplomatic welcome here." Korvax's secondary vocal cords engaged, producing a subsonic pulse that shattered the remaining recording equipment and made Azila clutch her workstation to stay upright. Emma yawned. "Is he going to keep making noise, or are we doing something today?" she asked. "Because I've got a delivery run to Sigma Station, and I'm already behind schedule thanks to this little field trip." "She doesn't understand," Azila whispered, horror creeping into her voice. "She literally doesn't comprehend what she's facing." "No," Zilax said slowly, watching Emma pull off her jacket and tie it around her waist like she was preparing for routine cargo work. "I think she understands perfectly. She just doesn't care." Korvax stopped mid-display, his predator brain clearly confused by prey that wasn't acting like prey. Emma noticed. "Oh, you done? Cool. So here's the thing. I don't kneel. Not for bosses, not for freight inspectors, and definitely not for something that sounds like my engine when it needs a tune-up. She cracked her knuckles. But hey, if you need to work through some aggression, I've got 45 minutes before I need to file this as overtime. Let's get this over with. Across 600 systems, trillions of beings watched in collective disbelief as the human, the fragile, unmodified, biochemically vulnerable human, gestured for the alpha beast to bring it on. Korvax began the ritual of breaking, a choreographed sequence of dominance displays that had literally caused the Vrixian Empire to collapse into civil war rather than face continued exposure. His body morphed through 17 threat postures, each one triggering cascading fear responses in every known sapient species. Emma held up her datapad, recording, "Okay, that's interesting. Do it again, but slower? The angle was bad." "Ambassador, explain this!" The Council High Command's collective voice thundered through Zilax's console. I cannot," Zilax stammered, watching his biochemical readouts in confusion. "Her adrenaline is elevated, but not fear elevated. Is that annoyance? Her cortisol levels suggest she's irritated, not terrified." "Impossible!" Azila pulled up comparison data. The Alpha's pheromone cascade is at maximum projection. The Crix delegation 3 chambers away has already evacuated due to proximity fear. On screen, Korvax expanded his thermal display, a wave of heat and chromatic shifting that exploited predator fear responses hardwired into evolutionary survival instincts across 1,000 species. The temperature in the arena spiked 40 degrees. Emma fanned herself with one hand. "So is this the part where I'm supposed to wet myself, or is there like a schedule for this thing? Because I'm getting mixed signals here." "She's critiquing him," Jotaro whispered, his voice hollow with disbelief. "A cargo hauler is critiquing the Apex Alpha's dominance display." "Human Johnson!" Zilax activated every speaker in the arena. "Please, for the sake of diplomatic relations, just take a knee. One knee. We can classify it as a casual rest position. Maintain your species' dignity." "Yeah, that's not really how we do things," Emma called back, not taking her eyes off Korvax. "Where I come from, kneeling means 2 things. You're praying or you're planting something. And buddy," she pointed at the beast, "you're not God, and I didn't bring a shovel." Korvax's confusion morphed into rage. He transitioned into the Thunder Walk, a ground-shaking advance that had caused the Telmari species to voluntarily sterilize themselves rather than pass down genetic memory of the terror. Each step cracked the reinforced arena floor. Each movement was precisely calculated to trigger flight responses. Emma yawned, jaw cracking wide, then stretched her arms over her head like she was starting a workout routine. "Okay, big guy's getting serious now. Cool, cool." "Representative Kaeldra of the Orion Coalition requests emergency intervention," Azila reported. "They're begging the human to submit for trade relationship preservation." "Senator Talana of the Centauri Alliance has offered to personally guarantee human trade routes if she just kneels," another coordinator added. "Humanity has no routes to guarantee if she loses this," Jotaro roared. Emma rolled her shoulders, bent to touch her toes, a stretch Zilax recognized from human exercise preparation files. "Quick question," she called out. "When he eventually tries to actually hit me, are there rules? Like, can I hit back, or is this one of those only the predator gets to attack situations?" "The dominance accords permit full response to challenge," Zilax responded automatically, then realized what he'd just authorized. "Wait, no, human, you don't understand. His species has reinforced skeletal structure, redundant organ systems, molecular bonded claws." Yeah, scary monster biology. Got it." Emma twisted her torso side to side, cracking her back. "I've unloaded 40-ton cargo pods with a busted lifter. I think I can handle one oversized house cat." Korvax's roar this time was pure fury, not ritual. The Alpha Protocol was breaking down. Prey was supposed to submit or flee, not stand there doing warm-up exercises while insulting his lineage. "She called him a house cat," Azila said faintly. "She called the Apex Alpha, descendant of the first predators, keeper of the dominance throne, the breaker of wills, a house cat. Ambassador, the human's behavior is causing system-wide confusion, Jotaro reported. 63 species representatives are demanding explanations. They don't understand why she isn't terrified, Zillax interrupted, watching Emma now doing leg lunges like she was preparing for a cargo haul shift. Because I don't think humans have the same fear responses we do. Or she's insane. Possibly both. Korvax abandoned all ritual protocol and lunged forward in an actual attack posture, claws extended, killing intent undisguised. Emma stopped stretching and sighed. Finally, thought we'd be doing the dance-off all day. She widened her stance slightly, knees bent, weight balanced. To Zillax's trained eye, it wasn't a combat stance. It was how humans stood when they were about to lift something heavy. "Oh no," he whispered, "she's not treating this like a dominance challenge." "Then what?" Azila began. "She's treating it like work." Korvax's strike could have punched through battle-grade hull plating. Emma stepped aside like avoiding a poorly driven cargo hauler, grabbed his extended arm and used his own momentum to send him stumbling past her. "You telegraph your moves like a billboard, buddy," she said, dusting off her hands. "See, the wind-up's your problem. Takes you a full 2 seconds to commit. I've got forklifts with better response time." "What is she doing?" Azila shrieked as every combat analyst in the council chambers frantically pulled up their data. Korvax spun, executing the razor spiral, a technique that had decapitated the champion of the Horgath Imperium. Emma ducked under it, stepped inside his reach, and shoved him off balance with what looked like a casual push. "Okay, so you've got reach and weight advantage," Emma narrated, circling him the way a mechanic circles a malfunctioning machine. "But you're top-heavy, and you commit too hard to every strike. It's inefficient. You're wasting energy." "She's coaching him?" Jotaro stared at his screen in disbelief. "Mid-combat, she's providing performance feedback?" Zillax pulled up Emma's background file with shaking hands. Employment history, cargo hauler, warehouse logistics, construction site foreman, freight dock supervisor. He looked up at the screen, where Emma was now treating the galaxy's apex predator like a problematic piece of equipment. "She's not fighting him, she's troubleshooting him." Korvax deployed his killing array, a combination attack pattern that had ended the war between the Krell and Vortian systems when both sides' champions refused to face him. Claws, teeth, tail strike, thermal burst, all simultaneously. Emma grabbed a piece of debris from the cracked arena floor and used it to deflect the claw strike, stepped on his tail to pin it, and casually punched him in what Zillax's anatomy files identified as a major nerve cluster. "See that?" Emma said as Korvax's left side spasmed. "That's your problem right there. You're all offense, no defense. Every attack leaves you completely exposed. It's like watching someone operate a plasma cutter without safety protocols." Combat analysis. "Team!" Jotaro barked. "What technique is she using?" "Sir." The lead analyst's voice was hesitant. She's not using combat techniques. She's applying workplace safety principles. That last move, that's how humans prevent equipment from crushing them during cargo operations." "She's treating the Alpha Beast like aggressive loading dock equipment," another analyst added, voice hollow with shock. On screen, Korvax executed the death spiral, a move that created a whirlwind of killing strikes. Emma watched it like a supervisor watching a worker use the wrong tool for a job. "Okay, now you're just showing off," she said, timing his rotation and stepping through a gap in his attack pattern that shouldn't have existed. She caught his arm mid-swing and twisted, forcing him into an awkward position. "You're burning through your stamina. What happens when you gas out? This is just poor planning." "Her heart rate is steady," Azila reported, staring at bioreadings. "Not elevated for combat. It's elevated for moderate physical labor." "Because to her, this is moderate physical labor," Zillax said quietly. "Look at her stance, her movements. She's not trained for this. She's just solving a problem." Korvax's dominance pheromones reached crisis levels, his biology screaming at the human to submit, to fear, to recognize his supremacy. Emma sneezed. Ugh, is that you? Smells like the recycling center on a hot day. His biochemical warfare is failing, a medical officer reported. Her system is processing his pheromones as irritants, not fear triggers. Irritants. Impossible! Azila slammed her station. Every species in the known galaxy responds to alpha pheromones with submission reflex. She's not responding as prey, Zilak said, watching Emma now using the arena's structural supports like a cargo bay framework, positioning herself, controlling space. She's not even responding as a rival predator. She's treating him like a hazard to work around, Jotaro finished, his voice stunned. Korvax lunged with species-ending force. Emma sidestepped, grabbed a support cable from the damaged arena equipment, and looped it around his leg as he passed. The alpha beast crashed face-first into the arena floor. I've had worse shifts at the loading dock, Emma said, breathing only slightly heavy. There was this one time a whole container stack went unstable during a solar flare. Now that was exciting. This? She gestured at the slowly rising Korvax. This is just Tuesday. The paradigm is collapsing, Azila whispered. She doesn't understand dominance hierarchy. She doesn't process threat assessment the same way. She's literally operating on different principles. On screen, Emma was now treating the arena like a cargo bay and Korvax like a package that needed securing, and she was winning. Emma stopped moving defensively. She planted her feet, rolled her shoulders one more time, and her entire demeanor shifted from dealing with workplace annoyance to time to clock out. Okay, she said, her voice dropping to the flat tone of someone who'd just run out of patience. Let's finish this. I've got a schedule to keep. Korvax charged again, but this time Emma didn't evade. She moved into the attack with the kind of purposeful efficiency that made Zilax's blood run cold. Ambassador, Azila whispered. Her bio readings just changed. She's not annoyed anymore. She's focused, like a switch flipped. She was never scared, Zilax said, horror creeping into his voice. This whole time she was being polite. Emma caught Korvax's strike, actually caught his clawed hand mid-swing, and twisted with mechanical precision. Bone cracked. The beast's roar of pain echoed across the arena. You wanted me to kneel, Emma said, her voice conversational but her eyes cold as vacuum. Honey, I only kneel for two things. Praying and burying. And you're not God. She wasn't fighting like a warrior. Warriors had honor, technique, ritual. Emma fought like an exterminator dealing with vermin. Every move was about efficiency, about ending the problem permanently. This isn't combat doctrine, Jotaro breathed, watching the systematic dismantling on screen. This is threat removal protocol. Korvax tried his killing techniques, the ones that had conquered star systems, ended wars, broken civilizations. Emma countered each one with brutal practicality. She didn't block his thermal blast. She used his own body mass as a shield. She didn't avoid his tail strike. She grabbed it and used it as leverage to throw him. She didn't respect his claws. She broke the fingers that wielded them. She's not trying to dominate him, Azila realized. She's trying to stop him. Permanently. The beast's roars became more desperate, less threatening. His dominance displays dissolved into survival instinct. He was no longer the alpha trying to establish hierarchy. He was prey, realizing it had attacked the wrong target. Emma's expression never changed. Worker tired, clock watching, getting the job done. In human terms, Zilax said slowly, accessing their cultural database, this is called extermination. Not warfare, not dominance establishment, just removal of a problem. Korvax tried to disengage, to retreat, to signal submission. Emma didn't let him. She moved with the relentless inevitability of industrial machinery. No wasted motion, no excess force, just constant grinding progress toward conclusion. He's trying to yield, Azila shouted. She needs to accept. She doesn't care about his yield, Zilax interrupted. Look at her face. She's not angry. She's not triumphant. She's just working. Emma swept Korvax's legs, both of them simultaneously, and rode him down to the arena floor. She pinned him there with one knee on his chest, one hand controlling his head, the other cocked back ready to strike. The galaxy's apex predator, undefeated in 12,000 years, whimpered. This is what kneeling looks like, Emma said quietly, her voice carrying through every speaker in the arena. Remember it. She didn't strike the killing blow. Instead, she pressed down harder, forcing Korvax's head to the arena floor in a posture of complete submission, the exact position he'd demanded from her. I want to be clear, Emma continued, her tone the same one she'd use explaining a work safety violation. I didn't kneel. You did. And if any other alpha anything wants to try this dominance garbage with humanity, you tell them what happened here. Tell them Emma Johnson, cargo hauler, 3rd shift, freight route 7, made the unconquered kneel. She held him there for 3 more seconds, long enough for every recording device to capture it, for every species representative to witness it, for 12,000 years of hierarchy to crumble into dust. Then she stood up, dusted off her jumpsuit, and walked toward the exit. Behind her, Korvax lay gasping on the arena floor, alive but utterly, completely broken. The council chambers sat in absolute silence. Korvax lay on the arena floor, his mind unable to process what had occurred. Defeat wasn't in his species' psychological framework. The concept of a lesser species, fragile, unmodified, chemically vulnerable, systematically dismantling him didn't compute. His neural pathways kept cycling through the same impossible loop. How? Emma retied her jacket around her waist and checked her datapad. Okay, so can I get back to my route now? I've got a delivery schedule, and this little detour just cost me my on-time bonus. The human wishes to leave? Azila stammered. After defeating the Apex Alpha, she wants to deliver cargo? Zilax stared at the screen, pieces clicking into place with terrible clarity. They don't have dominance hierarchies, he said slowly. Humans don't establish pecking orders through ritual combat. They have problem removal protocols. Korvax wasn't an alpha to her. He was a problem blocking her route. Emergency Council Session, Jotaro announced. Classification crisis. How do we categorize a species that doesn't recognize the alpha concept? They're not prey. They're not predators. They're not even competitors in the traditional sense. Emma noticed a camera drone still functioning and walked over to it, looking directly into the lens. Hey, whoever's watching this. Tell your bosses something for me. If they want humans to kneel, bring a shovel. You'll need to dig the hole first. We don't do the dominance thing. We don't do the submission thing. We just do our jobs and go home. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Test that theory at your own risk. She turned and headed for the exit, waving casually over her shoulder. Thanks for the workout. Bill my company for the overtime. The arena doors sealed behind her with a finality that felt like the closing of an epoch. Ambassador Zilax, the council high, command's voice was carefully neutral. Explain. Now. Zilax took a breath. Humans don't submit, and they don't dominate. They don't see themselves in hierarchies. They see themselves as workers. They have a job. They do the job. If something interferes with the job, they remove the interference. It's not personal. It's not political. It's just completion. Completion, Azila repeated. Not victory, not dominance. Just task completion. Exactly. Emma Johnson didn't defeat Korvax to establish superiority. She defeated him because he was in her way, and her shift wasn't over. Aboard her cargo hauler, Emma Johnson settled into the pilot's seat and pulled up her work log. Under today's entries, she typed, Incident Report, Unexpected Delay, Station 7 Arena, Workplace Disruption involving aggressive local fauna, Issue resolved, duration 45 minutes, Overtime compensation requested, Proceeding to Sigma Station, ETA 1800 hours. She hit submit and engaged the engines. Across the galaxy, a new protocol was being drafted in every language, on every world, in every diplomatic archive. Humanity classification, non-hierarchical problem solvers, do not issue dominance challenges, do not expect submission protocols, do not interfere with their schedules. Threat level, extreme if provoked. Recommendation, stay out of their way and let them work. The Alpha Beast had roared, "Kneel, human." Humanity had laughed, buried him standing up and gotten back to work. The universe was still trying to process which of those was more terrifying.